Well, hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel, Gospel Simplicity, a place where we are passionate about the beautiful simplicity and transformative power of the gospel. We're out to talk about life, Jesus, and the journey of faith in a real, honest, and open way. So if that at all interests you and you haven't already, I'd encourage you to hit subscribe down below to become a part of what we're doing here on this channel. Well, guys, as you can see, we are back at Moody, back here for another semester at Moody Bible Institute in downtown Chicago, one of the greatest cities on earth, minus the weather. It is far too cold here, but I'm glad to be back in the swing of things here at Moody and glad to be back making videos with you guys. Seriously, it is such a privilege and a joy for me to get to do this, and the fact that you watch this means the world to me. And so today, as we're still in January, as many of you are getting into the swing of a new semester in college or in high school, or you're just in a new year like all of the rest of us, or whenever you happen to be watching this, I wanted to take a second to talk about the power of habit. And I don't think you need much convincing to know that habits are powerful. You see, what we do repeatedly determines who we become, and so much of our life is lived unconsciously in just habitual actions, right? Like, you don't think a lot about the things you do every day. You wake up, you brush your teeth, hopefully, and you just go through your day in these habits that you do. And some of them are really good, like brushing your teeth, but other habits aren't so good. Maybe, the 6 hours of Netflix you're watching every day, or different sin patterns you're caught in, or different things. Like, they're not helpful, but they become habits, and habits, when good or bad, can be hard to break. When we leverage them for good, that's a wonderful thing. They're helping us unconsciously become who we were created to be and do what we were meant to do. But when they're destructive, we are unconsciously moving through our day, moving away from the person that God created us to be. So as Christians, we want to leverage habit as a powerful thing to help us grow as Christ followers. And I think it should be a given, but all of us as Christians should desire to grow in our relationship with God. It should not be a stagnant thing. In fact, the Bible just doesn't even really have much of a category for Christians who aren't growing. That's just not something that we see displayed as faithful followers who don't grow. We see, struggles and confusion, but we should be continually moving towards the version of us we were created to be, which is being conformed in the image of God. Like, that's what we were created for, and it should be a continual journey of following Jesus and becoming more like him. But when it comes to habit, I think sometimes in evangelical churches there can be a kind of weird attitude towards this. And I think it's because if we look at the history of the evangelical movement and how it happened, we see this kind of pendulum swing, that there has been this reaction in many circles towards what is seen as just, ritualistic and lifeless forms of Christianity, where it's just habits that don't mean anything and you're just doing these rituals and they're not dynamic and it's not relational. I think churches like to really stress the relational aspect of following Jesus, which is important, but we've almost demonized anything that can seem just habitual, just doing out of the motions, and we characterize it as that. You're just going through the motions, just checking the boxes, and most of that has been good. Hear me out. This pendulum swing in many ways is good, but in many cases we go too far one direction, and the middle is where we want to be, because to look with suspicion at anything that is habitual in matters of faith is to lose the wonder and just the opportunity that comes with spiritual disciplines. And spiritual disciplines, put simply, are just practices that Christians enter into, habits that they form that help them become more like Jesus. It's not that difficult. And Dallas Willard was a guru of spiritual disciplines. He wrote a book, Spirit of the Disciplines. You should check it out. I'm going to link an article that just describes some of the spiritual disciplines he talks about. But he really just this huge proponent of spiritual disciplines and how they can help us grow in our relationship with Christ. So rather than just being skeptical of anything that is seemingly ritualistic, I think we should recognize that actually there's power in doing things repeatedly. And there is times in our Christian walk where not everything's going to be super dynamic and just feel great. Like sometimes we do things that aren't fun, but we do it because we know it's helping us grow. We do enter into habits and we don't want them to become lifeless. We want to see the importance of them. But at times, doing prayer, doing Bible study, it's going to feel difficult. But habits take time to form. But as we form them, they begin to form us. And we want to curate the things in our life that we do habitually so that the things forming us are forming us into the us that we want to be. And spiritual disciplines are a great way to do that. Some spiritual disciplines consist of fasting or Bible study or prayer or fellowship, which is a super Christian word for just like hanging out with other Christians in an intentional way that'll help build each other up. As well as Dallas Willard lists things like secrecy, not just voicing all of your accomplishments, or silence, just really sitting still. And there's more, and like I said, you can find them in the link down below. But what I want to encourage you as we enter into this new year, this new semester, or just any time, whenever you listen to this video, if it's like way in the future, first of all, that'd be really cool. But second of all, it doesn't matter when you start, you can do this any time. But I want to encourage you, pick up a spiritual discipline. Not all of them, because that's too many habits to try to form, and you're not going to succeed at that. But maybe pick up one and think about how this can help you grow. Because the thing is, there's so many Christians that sit there and they say, I don't know why I'm not growing. I've been a Christian for so long, but I feel like I'm not growing in my faith. And you see, the thing is, it's not rocket science. I'm not saying that to belittle that, because that can be frustrating. Sometimes you're just not seeing the growth that is actually there. But oftentimes we just ignore the fact that it's no different than growing in other areas of our life. If you want to learn how to speak Spanish, it takes time and effort. If you want to become a good basketball player, it takes time and effort. Time and effort, like that's what it's going to take. But for so many of us, we put time and effort into so many things, but not our spiritual life. And that just frankly doesn't make any sense given what we say we believe. If you told me you want to learn Spanish and all you did was listen to one Spanish show once a week for an hour a week, and you came to me 2 years later and said, I don't speak Spanish and I don't know why, I'd be like, it's not rocket science. You need to put in more time and effort. But functionally, we do the same thing. We go to church once a week, listen to an hour-long sermon, and we think that should be enough to make us grow, but that is simply not enough. That is not enough to make us grow. If you ask me why I'm not a good basketball player and all you do is shoot hoops once a week, I could tell you, you need more time and effort. And so that's what you need in your spiritual life. You want to invest in this. If you want to seriously grow, if you want to, as Peter says, grow in the grace and knowledge of our Lord Jesus Christ. And this is what we're aiming for. The author of Hebrews talks about running the race with perseverance. It is a marathon, the Christian journey, and we need to form habits that are going to help us along the way. That is what's going to propel us. That's what's going to give us longevity, is to build just these healthy rhythms of our life that move us towards becoming more like Christ. And if we can make them habitual, then we can essentially, shortcut the path. We're not always trying to forge new paths through the woods, but we have this way, this well-beaten path that is leading in the right direction because it's habitual. We don't have to think about it. You wake up and you read your Bible and you pray. And I want you to continually, think of the significance, but it's like brushing your teeth. Like, it should be a habit. There's nothing wrong with habit. And I think the evangelical church needs to hear that, and we need to champion spiritual disciplines and habits and creating these rhythms, because that will help us grow in the long term. So for me, I know you can keep me accountable to this. The thing I'm going to be focusing on for this semester, the spiritual discipline, is taking a Sabbath. And I'm not saying this is binding for all people, and I'm not saying you need to do this. I want you to come up with what makes the most sense for you. But for me, I'm taking 18 credits, working 2 jobs. I've got a lot going on. So I know now more than ever, I need that time of rest, that time to just be still, to have that time with God, to focus and be intentional, to say, I'm not defined by all the work that I'm doing. I'm not, the center of my life isn't my schoolwork. It is my relationship with God. So that's what I'm choosing. You choose your own, and let me know in the comments what you're going to pick. But I'd really encourage you, pick one, do it for at least 30 days. If you want to pick another after that, go for it. I would love to hear how it goes. But anyway, guys, I want to thank you so much for watching this video. Like I said, that means so much to me. Today, I ran into 2 people that said they'd seen my videos, and that was just super cool. So if you're one of those people, thank you. But to any of you, thank you for watching this. It really does mean a lot, and I hope you're getting something out of it, because that's the goal. If you did enjoy this video, click like, leave me a comment down below letting me know what you thought, and as always, if you haven't already, be sure to hit subscribe to become a part of what we're doing here on this channel. Until next time, guys, go out and love God and love others, because that, I promise, will change the world. Peace. Love you guys so much. See you next time.